All right, so it's quite simple. Press the free like button if you think that Ronda Rousey was a lazy, terrible, fake pro wrestler in the World Wrestling Federation. Because now it's like, man, I can no longer defend Ronda Rousey. I don't know why she's going off on the World Wrestling Federation. Why is she biting off the hand that has fed her for the past 5 years? Listen, the only reason you're relevant is not because of the UFC. You are relevant because of the WWF. Let's speak facts. The fact that this chick has been trashing Vince McMahon and the company in her damn book, I'm like, why are you trashing a company that made you money and made you relevant from your failed run in the UFC? I don't get it. She is so ungrateful. And listen, if you are trashing Vince McMahon for his backstage culture, well, that means you are trashing Triple H, right? Because Triple H and Stephanie, they brought you in the company. It wasn't Vince McMahon. So by that same logic, you are trashing Triple H and Stephanie, who made you a fucking star, who brought back your name as a relevant talent. But I don't know why she's trashing the WWF as of late. Why? Because they did not want to resign you? I think that's what this is. Triple H did not want to resign you. He felt like you was past your prime, and that's a fact. Ronda Rousey, listen, all these years, man, I was trying to defend Ronda Rousey, but I can't because the bitch is ungrateful. But the fact that I'm seeing quotes from her damn book saying there's a casting couch culture in the World Wrestling Federation backstage, and she's trying to make fun of that. She's trying to expose that. I'm like, wow. Now listen, I have a close, reliable source within the UFC that has told me that Ronda Rousey fucked Dana White. So you want to talk about a casting couch culture, right? But you don't want to talk about Dana White. Dana fucking White. The same man who was fucking his ring girls. That Dana White? You want to throw Vince McMahon under the bus? I'm like, what? Talk about having no self-awareness. The only reason we know who you are, Ronda Rousey, is because you fucked Dana White to get where you're at. Back when Dana White first signed you, you were his first major signing. And he felt like you were somewhat attractive, so he pushed you as his top star because he felt like you can draw some money based on your looks and your talent. But the fact that you weren't that good, and he maxed that, he hit that. Look, we all knew Ronda Rousey was not that good. She was facing cupcakes in the UFC until Dana White was signing some big name players like Amanda Nunes, girls like that. He was signing big money players years later. Yes, you can say Rousey was the start, a pioneer, kinda, but I will compare Ronda Rousey to Britt Baker from All Elite Fake Pro Wrestling. You was at a point where you was the best girl available because the top girls weren't there yet, right? You were a starting block, but you was not the main block, right? Just like Britt Baker, you were a big fish in a small pond. Then once Dana White was signing more talented fighters, you became the past. You became irrelevant. You got exposed by more talented fighters. That's my fucking point. But the reason you got to where you were at, because you were sleeping with Dana White. Dude, Dana White is the king of the casting couch culture. But you want to throw Vince McMahon under the bus for saying there's girls backstage that have to sleep with certain men of power to get airtime? I'm like, where's your evidence? Where's your fucking proof? Because I'm not hearing no women saying anything like that about Vince, even though they could. Vince McMahon has fired a lot of women, and I'm sure they have not signed any fucking NDAs like All Elite Fake Pro Wrestling. So how come they haven't said anything? How come Dana Brooke has not said a word? Girls like that, there's tons of girls that they have fired, and they have not said a word about fucking Vince McMahon or fucking Bruce Pritchard. It's like, bro, she's trying to get the smarks to like her, right? That's what this is. She's trying to get the smart marks to like her, and it's working. Because now I'm seeing comments on Twitter saying, oh yeah, I like Ronda Rousey now. She's exposing the World Wrestling Federation. I'm like, these are the same people that said this bitch can't wrestle. I'm like, wow. All because he's trashing the WWF. Now you're on Team Ronda Rousey. That's fucking hideous. That is fucking disgusting. But let's go back to her career in the UFC. Bro, she was never that good. Fuck, man. What is your problem? Look here, bro. I watched the UFC. I watched every fight she was in. She was not that good. She fucking sucked. And she had no stand-up game. This bitch couldn't fucking strike. She couldn't take a strike. And she was fucking sensitive. This bitch was on suicide watch after being knocked out the first time. Seriously, I'm like, what? Because she was never that good. Dana White signed her during a time where he had no women's division at that time. It was very, very weak. Like I said, it was like Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa in the first year of All Elite Fake Pro Wrestling. Yeah, you are there as a bridge, but eventually we will sign better talent and you will hit that fucking mid card. That's what happened. Now, Thunder Rosa, her ass is in that mid card. Fucking Baker is not even on TV, right? Because there's better wrestlers, there's better females now. So we don't need Britt Baker on TV every fucking week. That's what I mean. That's Ronda Rousey. She was whooping ass in the UFC back when all the top women were not signed yet. So she took advantage of that. So it made us believe she was that good, but she was never that good. Now, I feel like the WWF, they saved her career. It's like they made her a badass again. And for her to fucking turn around and be ungrateful, I'm like, bitch, where were you at before Triple H and Stephanie brought you in? You were viewed as an overrated fighter who couldn't fight. The only thing this bitch was good at was the fucking armbar. I'm like, bitch, nobody's doing arm bars in the women's division. You need more than that, okay? You need more than that. You're not going to be Amanda Nunes with a fucking arm bar. That's my fucking point. That's all she had. That's why this bitch was getting knocked out by better fighters who had more tricks in their bag. But there's this one comment that pissed me off. This chick said, as long as Bruce Pritchard is there, Vince McMahon will always have an influence on creative. I'm like, are you stupid? Are you dumb? Triple H runs everything. Bruce has no voice, bro. Okay? So you're trying to get Bruce fired just because he has a strong bond with Vince McMahon. Bro, guess what? It ain't that strong. Okay? Trust me. Bruce and Vince, their bond ain't that strong. And no, Vince has no influence on creative. It don't matter if Bruce is there or not. Why are you trying to get that man fired? Like, why? It's all on Triple H. But the fact that this bitch tried to expose the casting couch culture. Bitch, your boss was Dana White. Who, bro, have you seen that man's closet? Do you know how much dirt he has on his name? Do you know how many Me Too cases this guy is going to have in the next couple years? Are you sick? But you want to throw Vince McMahon under the bus. Ronda, how come you ain't say shit when Dana White hit his fucking wife? You ain't say shit. Like, all you were doing is trying to expose your former boss, Vince McMahon, Bruce Pritchard, but you're not trying to expose Dana White. Like, I'm like, bro, you have no credibility in that book. The only reason you was pushed in the UFC because you was fucking Dana White. That's my source, who is close to the insides of the UFC. That's why you were being pushed. You were sleeping with Dana White. So how the hell are you gonna turn around and throw Vince McMahon under the bus for a casting couch culture when the fucking UFC is deep with casting couch culture? Dana White has fucked all of his ring girls. That's crazy to be that tone deaf and to throw a company under the bus that made you relevant, that made you seem like a badass again, even though you was never a badass, okay? You was always a trash fighter in the UFC. We all know that. You were in a weak division that did not have any top girls yet. Okay, there was no Holly Holmes yet. I think her ass was a boxer until Dana White signed her as a UFC fighter. And that chick whooped your ass. So I'm trying to understand where she's coming from. Ever since Triple H said, you know what, I'm not going to bring you back. This bitch has been on a tear, a bitter tear. Like, this bitch is bitter. Like, why? So let's go back to her last run in the World Wrestling Federation. It's like, it was trash. It was garbage. It was boring. She did not improve in the ring. Nobody cared about her. She got no pops. She was a mid-carder. Nobody gave a flying fuck about Ronda Rousey. But don't blame Vince. Blame yourself. You did not improve. You was gone for like 2 years, and you never improved once you came back from having your kid. So I'm like, bro, they gave you a Royal Rumble win. Vince McMahon gave you a Royal Rumble win. And this is how you were paying him. You want to throw Vince on a bus, but not Dana White. Hell, I think Vince McMahon did more for Ronda Rousey than Dana White. I'm like, that's crazy to me. Vince McMahon made you a fucking star. He brought back your name as a relevant fighter. So I don't get it. Why is she trying to bury the company? But you are silent on Dana White. Now, let's go back to all of her matches. They were all garbage, trash. I'm sorry. I was trying to defend her, but I can't. I think her best match was against Charlotte Flair. That was her best match. Her best match was against Charlotte Flair. And it ends there. I'm sorry. It ends there. Listen, this chick can't wrestle, okay? The only thing her ass was good at was, again, it was the fucking armbar. That's the only thing her ass was good at in all the judo stuff. But other than that, her best match was against Charlotte Flair. That's it. But listen, she stopped being a draw during her first run. After her second run, nobody gave two fucks about Ronda Rousey because it felt like she did not care. And yet, you were still being pushed. Bitch, your promos sucked. You can't wrestle, but yet Vince McMahon gave you multiple title reigns. And you won the Royal Rumble. So where in the fuck do you get off trashing the company? When, bro, they were pushing you when you did not deserve to get pushed and you was lazy. You was trying to get by your name, but that's not how that works. You gotta update your resume in that ring. You gotta update your fucking skills. You never did shit. You just wanted to get by your name. That's what happened, and the crowd turned on you because it felt like you did not care. But yet, they were still pushing you like you were a big-time star. And this is how you would pay them just because they don't want to resign you? That's crazy. The fact that I think this girl never loved fake pro wrestling. I think it was all about the money. Facts. Because this bitch showed no improvement during her second run. It was all about that young moolah, baby. That's what she was all about. But listen, to make a long story short, Ronda, how about you expose Dana White as the casting couch king? He's the casting couch GOAT. In fact, dude, he's at the fucking Weinstein level. That's what y'all don't know. Dana White, he's at the Harvey Weinstein level, but it's being kept quiet. So I'm like, but you want to throw Vince McMahon under the bus? That's crazy to me. Okay, I'm done.